Hi everybody, FPL Witty here, back for another of my FPL videos. I hope you're well. Recording this on Monday morning on the back of game week 6. Hope you had a good one. I had my first red arrow of the season this week, so it is what it is. I've had a sea of green arrows up to now, but a red one this week, but I'm still smiling. You've got to, haven't you? So if you've been watching these videos regularly, then I'm pleased that you're staying with it. If it's your first one, then you're very welcome. I'm glad you're here. So the idea is that we get out once a week, just have a bit of a chat about FPL, have a look at what's been happening over the last week, over the last game week, have a look ahead, have a look at some of the key talking points, and we do so while we're out in the Yorkshire countryside, getting a bit of fresh air and keeping fit. So that's the plan. So as I say, I'm recording this one on Monday morning, straight after game week 6. So that's quite a lot to chew over, quite an eventful week. I keep thinking somebody's going to pull me up one of these days for wearing my t-shirt inside out, but I managed to get away with it so far, I think. So game week 6, I think before we start talking about the specifics of the games, I think VAR was a bit of a headline this week, wasn't it? I've never really been a massive fan of VAR, I don't know about you. I think it's fair to say that we get more correct decisions through having VAR, which I suppose has got to be a good thing if you get more right than you would have had otherwise. I think it's everything that goes with it, really, isn't it? The delays. I think as a fan, I think it takes a lot away from the game. The very essence of football, celebrating that goal as they go in. I think that's a massive part of football. I think if it's instant, like it used to be with a referee's whistle or a flag, then I think that's fair enough. You had a quick glance at the officials and then celebrated, but I think it's pretty hard as a fan now to have a goal ruled out after 2 minutes when you thought you were ahead. So it is what it is. I'm not a fan, but anyway, we move on, rant over. So yeah, game week 6, what an eventful week again. I keep saying that every week, don't I? But Arsenal finally lost their 100% record, as Manchester United made it 4 wins in a row now. What crisis, eh? They're really on fire, aren't they? Going really well. Rashford, the star of the show. There's about 500,000 transfers in of Rashford already on Monday morning. Just shows how quick people are to react. I would be a bit cautious of that one. I thought he got subbed off holding his hamstring myself, so I think if you've already gone early on it, I'd be a bit cautious of that one. The one thing I'd say about transfers this week is that I would hold off generally anyway. We've got 7 teams in European action midweek. I'll be very reluctant to make a transfer, even if you're getting more team value out of it. All sorts can happen midweek, so my advice will be to not make any transfers until later in the week. It's incredibly high risk if you do, so I'll leave that with you. That's your choice. So yeah, the Arsenal game, they finally lost. I was a Martinelli owner, so I was up out my seat celebrating the early Martinelli goal, which of course got ruled out for a push earlier in the move. I think, even though I was a Martinelli owner, I think it was probably just about the right call, but it's probably something with that before VAR days we wouldn't have made too much about. So that was frustrating for me as a Martinelli owner. But yeah, well done United. They look very impressive. Saka got his goal at last, if you managed to stick with him. I told you last week to sell Saka for Martinelli, so if you did, I'm sorry. I still think Martinelli is the much better option for 2 million cheaper, but there you go. So yeah, Manchester City were held. Everybody expected them to steamroller over Villa, didn't they? But quite funny really that everybody held Leon Bailey at the start of the season, and he goes and wipes out the double Manchester City clean sheet for a lot. I was on one defender, but those on two would have been a bit miffed about that one. And of course Erling Haaland scored again. I think Pep was pulling our plonker when he said he was never going to start more than 3 games. He was never going to play 3 games in a week. But he keeps playing. We keep having this weekly game, don't we, about guessing Haaland's minutes and captaining Salah instead, because we don't think Haaland's going to play. I actually went with Haaland after Pep was quite positive about the comments about Haaland on Friday, so I went with Haaland captain, fortunately. But yeah, he just seems to be playing every game, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. I think he's a bit of a permanent captain now, Haaland, I think, regardless of fixture, especially with his ownership being so dangerously high. So drop points for City, and drop points for Liverpool as well, 0-0. Not really got it going for results this season so far, 0-0. I kept the faith in the double Liverpool clean sheet, double Liverpool defence. And of course, you know what's coming next, don't you? Of course, Robertson was benched. He joined the party too late to get the clean sheet. And Trent goes and walks off 2 minutes before the 60-minute threshold. So he walks off after 58, and in the end, they keep a clean sheet, and neither of them get the clean sheet. So sometimes you just got to smile about these things, haven't you? That's how it goes. I think I'll stick with the double Liverpool clean sheet one more game. A lot of selling Trent Alexander-Arnold this week, which seems absolutely bizarre. I wonder if they'd have sold him if he'd have played 2 more minutes and got his clean sheet. Last time everybody sold Trent, remember, he scored 17 points in the next match. He's got Wolves at home this week, so I wouldn't be selling Trent. I'm actually going to keep hold of Robbo one more week for that Wolves fixture, I think. Possibly sell him the week after when they play Chelsea, I think it is. So yeah, that was frustrating as a Trent and Robbo owner. But drop points for Liverpool. Salah, blanked again. Big decision to make now with Salah, isn't there? I don't think I'll be selling him before my wild card in game week 9, and then I'll review it. I'll keep him till then, I think. I know he plays Chelsea in game week 8, but we'll see. I'll certainly keep him this week anyway. But certainly some options there. You could sell him to Kevin De Bruyne. I'm not advocating that you do, because I won't be doing that, but certainly can unlock a lot of money in your team, that's for sure. And then elsewhere, Harry Kane scored again as Spurs won. He's doing very well, isn't he? And Chelsea won again, very late. Havertz got the winner. And a couple of teams went goal crazy. Ivan Toney hat-trick as Brentford hit 5. If you're on to Ivan Toney, you're laughing this week, aren't you? He's going great. I think a lot sold Ivan Toney after he blanked a couple of weeks. So again, that lesson we talk about every week. Don't sell players after 2 blanks. Keep faith with your players. Hope you're on Ivan Toney. I wasn't. And of course Brighton stuffed Leicester as well, didn't they? Another 5 goals. This time for Brighton. So plenty of Brighton options emerging now there. McAllister was the hero really, wasn't he? But Trossard, Gross, I was on Gross. I thought I was a bit unlucky really. I thought he could have had a pretty big haul, to be honest. So yeah, plenty going on. How did I do? Well, I only had 3 returners this week. I had the Haaland captaincy, and he had assists from Neco Williams, who I bought him for Perisic, because we thought Perisic was going to be benched, and he was. So I got Neco Williams' assist, and I got a Gross assist, and that was it really, 3 returns. So a tough week, and I scored 39 points. So a bit below average this week. I've been on a sea of green arrows all season until now. So it's my first red of the season. I was down from 61k to 146k, I think. So a red arrow this week, but we'll take that on the chin. I said last week that not to get too carried away, because the bad game weeks will always arrive. So I was only actually 3 points below the elite manager average, which I think this week it was quite indicative that the more casual players tended to outscore the more engaged players. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but that is how it worked out this week. So yeah, I take it on the chin. I'm still in the top 1.5% of teams, so fantastic position to be in after 6 weeks. I'm happy with that. So what this week then? Well, I'm fairly happy with my team. I'm big at the back, failed again. I've got Trent, Robbo, Cancelo and Reece James scored 5 points between the 4 of them, but I know people say big at the back is failing, but I think they're all capable of big 15-point hauls on the day. I think I'll stick with that for now. I've got Jesus, Haaland, Salah, Gross, Martinelli. I'm happy with my team. I think I might roll this week. I think I'm going to keep hold of Robbo for that fixture against Wolves. Then when he plays Chelsea in game week 8, I might move him to Trippier, who plays Bournemouth. And I've got the funds through doing that, and what I've got in my kitty to maybe get Mitrovic in game week 8 against Forest. So that might be my loose plan, but a lot can change before then. So it is what it is. Red arrow this week, but I'm still smiling. You've got to, haven't you, really? Don't get too disheartened if you're too far behind. These things happen. If you're 50 points behind, you can pull that back at 1 or 2 points a week. I said that every week, so keep the faith. So we'll keep it there. Keep these videos brief. If you want to follow my team more closely, you can do so at I write articles for Fantasy Football Geek website. I'll be here once a week with these. You can find me on Twitter. And if you're enjoying the videos, be sure to like and subscribe. Hopefully you find them helpful. And we'll be back to do it next week. So, as I said, keep the faith. A lot of very, very good engaged managers got bad scores this week, so you're not alone in that. As I say, I'm not too disheartened. Still in a fantastic place at this stage of the season, so early. So I'll be keeping the faith, sticking with my players. As I say, avoid early transfers if you can. We've got a big week of European action to come. I'd definitely hold back off those transfers. So that's it. Hope you have a good week. Look after yourself. Enjoy the European action. And as they say in Barnsley, I'll see thee.